Hello, YouTube, and welcome to the In Your Head podcast. I am your host, as always, Jesse. And with me today on the couch, I have comedian and musician. Well, I mean, I know you say you're getting away from the comedy part. We'll get to that later, but comedian and musician Greg Goldstein. Greg, how are you, sir?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm glad to have you on here. I know we've been talking about this for a while, so
I'm excited. Thank you.
I'm glad I can have you on. So, first thing we bring to everybody who comes here. We warned you. The first thing you always got to bring is our statute of initiation. So I need you to bring a story for me that something you might have done that you're not too proud of.
Yeah, it's funny. I actually told this story today at work to these little kids because I've gotten into the habit of telling them stories, and usually they're interested. But one time, there was this kid who I used to like tease in high school a lot, and I guess on my end, it was more like lighthearted than it was to him. And one time I was out with a few friends and we were talking about that kid, and then like lo and behold, later that night we pulled up next to him at a red light. So I like rolled I rolled down the window and started like yelling shit at him. Just like making fun of him, like making fun of the fact that when he was a kid, a grown up dunked him in a pool.
Oh, jeez.
For swimming in the, swimming lane, the lap lane, whatever.
Oh. So he got in his way and he like...
Yeah, it was
wow.
scary. It was a big deal. Like the cops came and everything.
Really?
So yeah. And then, years later, I like made fun of him for it, and then was next to him, like rolled down the window and like yelled some shit and then drove off. And here's one thing that I didn't consider is the fragile male ego. And it was me and like 3 females, and it's not like I was dating any of them or anything, but like just imagine, like as silly as it might sound, like imagine if some dude just like rolls up, it's almost like comical, like in a car full of like ladies, just like, hey, fuck you, and then just like rolls off while they're all like laughing. So I got back to my friend. Like, yeah, I'm not proud of this one.
No,
it's the point. Yeah, I got back to my friend's house and someone sent me a text like, hey, have you looked at Facebook? Which is a text that I hope I never get again.
Oh no.
And he put on my wall or timeline or whatever, he just like blasted me and was just like talking all like just saying what a fucking asshole I am and like all sorts of stuff. And I felt so horrible. Like I just kept apologizing. Like what else? I'm not gonna be like, fuck you. Like he was totally right. I was being such an asshole. And I had no idea. So I just like kept apologizing over and over, and he was so pissed. And yeah, one of the people I was with kept trying to like grab the keyboard away from me. They wanted to like write something obnoxious back. I was like, no, I should just be apologizing.
That's not gonna make it any better.
No, I wonder if I should have done that, just because I feel like the fact that I apologized probably made it less satisfying for him, because he was still angry, and I feel like it's more satisfying to like crush someone when they're not already sorry. I wonder if like for his sake I should have just been an asshole, just so he could like have more what's the word, like he could be more satisfied.
Gratification.
Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, that's that.
Yeah, no, I hear you. That's an interesting situation. Like, I mean, the instance as it happened, the instant like when that all went down, I can see like, yeah, it's not a really good thing to be proud of looking back on it. At least you're at that point. Like I know some people who are just like, yeah, it was great. I'm like, you're gonna get to a point in your life where you're gonna be like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, why did I do that? Like,
yeah.
So the confused look on Greg's face right now because he hears a noise. My cat is freaking the hell out.
That's just my face.
The cat is somewhere over there off camera running up and down my stairs. So that is the noise that Greg hears and has no idea what the hell's going on. So, but anyway, when it happened though, at least and you can look and say, I fucked up.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
Shouldn't have acted like that. And you realize, and I think it's a good thing to see, because some people that never get there and they don't develop.
Yeah.
And they just stay this man-child their whole life. And it's a shame to see people like that. And it's good you're not, believe me. It's really...
I think it might be, as we were saying right before we started recording, that neurotic Jewiness, that like need for self-awareness. Yeah. That makes me constantly like question myself, which sometimes is a good thing, because if not, I wouldn't have felt bad or apologized in this situation.
And that's where anxiety comes from.
Exactly.
Which I think we'll get to later in this interview for sure.
Definitely.
Anxiety might be the theme of this particular particular session. So before we get into the total interview proper, I've been doing a new word association that I've been doing with all my guests.
Okay.
So I'm going to give you 7 words. I just want you to give whatever comes to mind just right off the bat when I give you the words.
Just like another word or something?
Yeah, whatever word comes right back to you when you get it. So, like I said, I need a story, just a word or two that comes to your mind.
Already,
okay?
I'm feeling anxious. Okay,
all right, here we go. Night.
Day.
Okay.
No, shining armor.
Okay. Car.
Bus. Like school bus.
Okay. Work.
Play. Oh, I've got his antonyms.
Sport.
Chess.
Okay. Water.
Hydration.
Any time.
Time. Wasted.
And comedy.
Funny. It's the best I've got.
No, I've been putting this together, and I'm going to start putting in, I want to put all these together and put them onto Facebook and show, like, what everybody says under each one. Because each word, like, there is a word in there that is a homonym, being night.
Yeah.
So I wanted that one in there on purpose, but I want to see where everybody else's minds go and see where those words take people. Like, a lot of them, you see different things, but, like, you've got, like, bus.
Yeah.
Or car. That's a new one, actually. Most people think of like their car or dream car, or like I think somebody had like pain in the ass because I think they were having car troubles and things like that. So you get a lot of that stuff, and like chess, like that. No, it's like for everybody is a different thing, and to see chess is interesting because you can definitely see the intellectual, because we know, like I said, you're a musician, so that's all there. So chess I would assume follow.
I have no idea how to play chess, but I know it's almost like a joke how like they put on like ESPN and stuff. But either way, but I'm certainly not judging it because I'm not a sportsman either.
Well,
it's just kind of a thing that came to me.
It's never something you see mixed too much, which is something that we had talked about before we going on air. Is that like, I tend not to fit in, so it's like I play sports. I go out. Yesterday afternoon, before we filmed this, 95 degrees, I was out playing disc golf in the heat like a dumbass, cooking my ass out there, and it was hot as hell, and I'm out there playing like just because. So, but yet I've also been trying to be, I have an artistic side, so it's weird because a lot of people who are in, I can't ask most of the musicians to go, hey, let's go play some lacrosse.
Yeah.
They're going to look at me like I'm nuts. So, but then again, I can also see it as, me playing sports. I've banged my hands up and things like that. As a musician, that's the last thing you want.
Yeah.
That has to be the absolute last thing that you want to do.
It's like when my kitchen caught fire and I was just saying to all the EMT people, like, is this going to heal?
Yeah.
This is the first thing I was thinking of.
Because that's the most valuable tool for you is your hands. I mean, you get banged up in sports, and it's like, but now you have to stop playing music, and that's got to be worse than just me not being able to go through disc golf discs. That's got to be way worse.
It was really scary.
Yeah. How long were you out of commission when?
Not really at all. For the most part. I mean, it was bandaged up for a little while, but luckily it wasn't any like major damage or anything.
That's not too bad. That is a good thing. So So we've gotten into the music hobby. So how long have you been playing music?
About 10 years. I actually just booked my first show in a few years, which I'm excited about. But like 10 years. So
you took a break from like actual shows?
Yeah, because I kind of hit like a brick wall of inspiration, and I feel like there are so many people who are just not interesting, like songwriters who are more interested in just like attention, which I love attention, but I'd rather do it like, doing something I'm proud of. And I hit kind of a brick wall of inspiration, and I hadn't written anything new, and I wasn't feeling as connected to these songs as I was. So I felt like, as strong as my ego is, I feel proud of the fact that I can, for the most part, keep it in check. So I decided to stop playing shows because there's enough singer-songwriters out there, and most of them suck, so I don't want to be one of those.
Yeah.
So yeah, I kind of like swore off shows. The reason I decided to book this show is just because it's in New York, and it's a venue that I always wanted to play.
Oh,
And
okay.
another venue in New York that I always wanted to play just shut down.
Oh, okay.
So it's almost like a
Bring
bucket
that
list
in
thing.
a little closer for me. No,
Yes.
it's
Oh, I should know
not
this.
too close, but yeah.
But yeah,
Perfect.
so yeah, it's like a bucket list thing. I just want to do it before they shut it down, or my
Nice.
hands fall off or something like that.
Yeah.
So I'm very excited.
Did you get to play the Pennant before it died?
The what?
The Pennant. Or am I too old for this one? There's a place on Route 130 down Brooklawn.
Okay.
There's a place called the Pennant, and it was a shithole. You don't deserve to play there. Trust me, that's horrible. I wouldn't wish that on somebody. They had like 3 house bands that played there all the time, and it was a dive. And it's long gone, thank God. And like they had a special on like Wednesdays. It was like quarter giraffes. It was like it would go up by a quarter every half hour. So you could go in there early and just sit there and drink quarter giraffes and just get wrecked. They used to call it White Trash Wednesday because you were just getting in there and there was nobody that was going there because you weren't going to work on Thursday. So yeah, it was a mess. So that's a horrible place to play. But I knew some people who played there. They were like, "Oh, I'm going to play," and they played at this.
It was like an honor or
Just
something. That they were excited.
I guess. I mean, like you want to brag about it because it was just this dive that everybody laughed about and knew about. You know, I mean, I guess
like a rite of passage or something.
I guess, yeah, and I guess it would seem kind of cool because everybody knew what it was. It was like, oh, it's a Bennett, and they played there. So it's like, yeah, if you said that, like if there was, you know, I mean, like we know the tap room. Like if it was a place that had a venue, we all know the tap room, and you were like, if you went and said, dude, I played the tap room, it'd be like, yeah, we all know the tap room. It'd be like, that's awesome. So, you know, I guess we were a little smaller city guys.
Yeah.
You know, we weren't like, oh, what's in New York? We didn't know New York, so it wasn't a big thing for us. But no, it's good to hear you're getting back on the show. So when's the show coming up?
It's July 5th.
July 5th.
I just booked it, and I'm very excited.
It's very close, so I'm going to make sure I plug it in case this episode doesn't get out in time. No, I'll make sure. So that would be Thursday, July 5th. So I only know because July 4th is a Wednesday, and it's weird having off work.
That's why everyone knows when I bring it up. That's
yeah,
Thursday.
Because nobody wants to have off one day in the middle of the week for July 4th and then go back for 2 more days.
I think my dad or someone was like, it's July 4th weekend. And I was like, I don't give a shit. I just want the soonest date that they gave me because I'm like so anxious. And
that's pretty soon, yeah. You don't want to sit and think about it too much, though, huh?
Yeah, well, I just need to practice. It's like it's all piano versions of my songs. So like pretty much every song, every song on my like demo album thing is guitar, and it's all piano versions of those songs.
All right, cool. And so, do you have like a site that has some of your songs? Anything SoundCloud or anything like that?
Yeah, Bandcamp.
Bandcamp. There we go. It was one or the other. I figured I'd take a shot.
50-50.
Yeah. So I'll get a link from you. I'll make sure we get it posted. It'll be posted down below in the description so people can check it out for sure.
Cool.
So I will hopefully I don't have a calendar in front of me, but I'm trying to see when this is going to be out in my head because I know this will be out in 2 Fridays from now. So hopefully that'll be before then, and it'll be in good time for the show, and we can pump the show up a little bit. So,
definitely. I think
perfect.
That's good.
So the other hobby we got to ask about then is comedy. So that's how I met you. I met you through the tap room. Over there at High Note, the usual Wednesday, whatever you want to call it, open mic. So yeah, you've been taking a bit of a break. I hadn't seen you around for a while. We thought you'd given up on us. We were like, what happened, man? So was it the same sort of creative feel to get yourself back into it again?
I guess, and probably. I mean, like we were saying, before we started recording, it's just a lot of work. And again, I do enjoy a lot of the people who perform, but like when I go to an open mic, the main reason is to perform. So it's like, you go, which is a pain in the butt, and then like, you sit for a couple hours, and then you do your 5 minutes, and then you sit back down for another hour or two. So like leading up, I'm just thinking like, thinking about what I'm going to say and everything. And then when I'm done, it's like everything that I said, and I just keep playing that over my head.
No, I feel you. Actually, absolutely.
And then it's like once a week, and a lot of the people who go a lot and who go to multiple open mics, they'll do the same jokes because the point is to, like work on it and stuff.
Yeah, hone it down, get it right.
Exactly, yeah. So I don't go enough. I guess I write more often than I go, so I don't even get a chance to work on the jokes. I just like go, maybe it hit, maybe it doesn't, but then I just move on. So
you put the 5 minutes together each week, and then you got 5 minutes, and then off it goes. You don't go to those 4 mics a week to really. Yeah, I see. I see how that can be an issue.
Yeah.
But I see exactly how you feel, because that's exactly what happened to me the time I went up, was 3 hours beforehand, just sitting there.
Yeah.
And then I don't think I slept very well at all that night. Like, I came home from that and just sitting there, just laying in bed thinking, oh, like, I know it wasn't bad. I really wasn't. I know you asked me to go to the bar. No, I didn't do terrible. But, like, I don't think it would have mattered how great it went. You never would have been, you know what I mean? I would have thought about whatever the hell wasn't perfect.
Yeah.
And it would have bothered me. Like, how could I? And I can't do that every time.
Did you record it?
No.
I always record
no.
myself. I always record myself, so I can.
No, I made one really dumb mistake, and I posted it on Facebook that I was like, yeah, I'm actually gonna go do, and
I never do that.
Well, it was like the one thing, because everybody knew I was going there. I was like, yeah, I'm actually gonna go up this week, so wish me luck. And then, like, a couple people from my family showed up, and I was like, shit, no. And that was, like, horrible. Like, I was like, I'm gonna eat it in front of my family, and I'm never gonna hear the end of it.
That's
so
why I never invite anyone, like family, friends. People will be like, "Oh, when's the next time you're gonna do stand up?" I'm like, "Don't worry about it." Like, if I do like a comedy show one day, they can come, but it's an open mic, and I'm trying to work stuff out, and I don't know when I'm gonna bomb. So yeah,
I think you and everybody else knows that, except for me. I'm the idiot.
There's at least one person I can think of who like will like bring out like everyone, like coworkers, and then he just like bombs. And then,
well, we're not gonna say names.
Exactly. Yeah, I know.
Once you
even
said
to say
bombs, you should have just left it there, and we could have named some names.
Even to say that is like a little. Hopefully,
no,
this person doesn't know.
It's trial and error at the mics, though. You know,
exactly.
we're not. Your people put stuff out, and I know you go there each week. It can be hit or miss. You don't know what kind of comics you're gonna get. You don't know what kind of comedy you're gonna get.
And it's so comedy and music are so different. People always like say they are related somehow, which is maybe true, but music, you know, like you can write at your house and you decide if you like it or not, and if you go and perform it, people are gonna clap no matter what. Laughter is a natural impulse, so you either like. You know right away. And you know, music, you write it at home, and again, you know, you decide if you're happy with it. A joke, it requires if I write a song, like that's the song. If I make a joke, I just have to sit on it for a week before I decide if it's like a thing or not. Where you know, a song is just a song, and I'm done, and I can decide if I like it, and people are going to clap out of politeness.
Well, so you've never taken a song and reworded it, rewritten the lyrics once you've had it kind of down, like
I do it all the time.
Right. Well, that's what you're saying. It's kind of the same thing. Like I've seen Ramon, you know, to reference a comic that we see, and somebody I see that does music. I'll see him change his, you know, he'll change his songs every so often. Yeah. He'll rework it. He'll redo something, and you know, to make it better. And the same thing that would happen with a joke appropriately. You know, they'll get out of here, cat. Get. So, you know, I think that's kind of the same element, that creativity to make it right. I mean, you want to make a song perfect. You want to make that song the best you can make it, and I can see it that way. That you see guys that once they get a joke right and they get that joke perfect, that's how they're going to tell that joke. Yeah, and that joke hits no matter where you go. Every time that joke hits, and if you get that song, you hit that song that's that good. You're going to take it there. It's going to hit. Yeah, and that song is going to be awesome. But yeah, I think you get the same response, but maybe not with laughter.
Yeah, well, that's the thing with music. I don't give a shit what people's reactions are. Like, you know, that's another thing about the ego that I feel like I'm good at separating it. Like, as much as I just like anyone care what people think, and when I perform, I'm like, oh, hopefully I look cool or whatever. Like, I don't think about that at all when I write songs. I totally separate it, like what people will think about it and what is the best song for me, and like how I will like it the most. So when I rework it, it's not like, oh, these people didn't like it or it didn't make sense. It's just because I want it, you know, I thought of something that made more sense to me after I wrote it.
Okay. No, it makes sense. Well, it's good that you can rework it like that. I knew a guy who first taught me to play music, and this is what threw me off and why it was very hard to play music with him, because he would write a song. He would kind of play this thing, and then that was it. He would never touch it again.
Like he wouldn't play it or anything?
No, he wouldn't really want to play it again. He would just kind of make this thing, play it, and then that was it. Throw it in a box and just leave it away. And I'm like, but I want to get better. I want to practice it. I want to know that song. I want to understand it or make it better. And so I had that in my head way before, but it was hard. It was hard learning with him because he didn't want to keep practicing the song. And again, I was still starting out, so I didn't know a lot of the music theory. And he could just be like, "Oh yeah, you're just gonna play a blues progression and this and that." I'm like, "What?"
I barely know about music theory,
so how were you? Were you? I guess I'm apparently guessing you weren't classically trained, just kind of self-taught then.
Yeah. Well, I know a tiny bit about music theory, and I feel like it's better to either just like be an expert or not know anything, because I feel like just knowing a little bit is a little bit to my like detriment. Because I'll, when I write, I'm very conscious of it, and then when I hear someone else's song, or if I'm doing a cover or something, as I'm playing it, I'm like, oh wait, this other phrasing is the same chord that they played before, but it just sounds different, and I feel like, without having that knowledge of music theory, I wouldn't notice. But if I'm writing a song the same way, it would bother me.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's come back to bite me a little bit. And that's just from being in school, but I'm mostly taught. I'm like self-taught and taught by my dad, who is like an incredible musician. And so, again, maybe like, I don't know, maybe it probably would have been better to take music lessons, but having this person in my house, it's like a 24/7 like on-call music teacher.
Well, yeah, that does help.
Yeah, because he can play anything by ear. So I'll, there will be a song that I want to play, and I'll just like go up to my dad. He's like watching TV, and I just give him my headphones and be like, "Here, learn this and teach it to me." And then like 30 seconds later, I'm playing that song because he showed it to me. So
nice.
It's a lot of fun, but I don't know how much it helped me to learn how to play music. I have a decent ear. Like I'll try and play things by ear, which works sometimes, because to me that's like the most important skill, way more than knowing music theory. I want to be able to play something by ear, and then to go from there, I want to be able to hear something in my head and play it, because I feel like a lot of the songs I wrote, they were similar to what I heard in my head, but I had to settle because I knew there was like, once I start playing the instrument, whatever was in my head would just like disappear. So I kind of had to settle for that, and I don't want to do that anymore. That's one of the things that I think like deterred me from writing. So I'm trying to work on my ear. I haven't been working nearly as hard as I should be, but my goal is to get really good at figuring out songs by ear, which is good, because when you're like, it's the same thing, except when I start playing, it doesn't go away. It's still there. So I feel like the more I can, play things by ear, the more easy it will be for me to, write something as I hear it in my head. And that's the ultimate goal.
That's believe me, that's a nice thing to have, because I could sit there and whistle something and be like, oh, that's really cool. Yeah, that's about as good as it's going to get. Because
I have all these like recordings of, I have these like 10-minute recordings of just me like trying to write a song, and I don't want to forget anything, so I just record the whole thing.
Yeah.
So I have these insanely long demos, and then I have these like 10-second recordings where I'm trying to remember a melody, and I'll just go on my phone, and there's just this 10-second recording of me just like, no, 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 no. Like, that'll help me remember the melody later.
It's gonna totally come back exactly the same later.
It rarely works.
Yeah, I wish that was something that I had, because all my buddies grew up playing music, and I was never really included. It never appealed to me when I was really young. I was like, nah, I'm okay. And now it's like, I'm kicking myself hard for that.
I feel the exact same way. I wish I started when I was way younger. And I always, anytime I talk to a kid, whether it's my own little cousins who I taught them, a basic scale, and they're excited about it, or if I just talk to a kid like at work or something who's playing music, I'm like pleading with them, like, don't give it up, like, trust me, it's like learning a language. Like, the younger you are, the better you will be later. And who knows, maybe you won't care when you're older, but you might end up being really happy that you stuck with it. And so I'm just like, please don't give up, like, don't make the mistake that I did and not do music until you're older.
I'd tell that to anybody watching, is if you have the chance to play and learn, do it, because it is something that you'll always have. And whether you just want to have a guitar around the house and learn to play and feel that creativity, it's something. And even if it's something to do, like we were just talking before we started, it's like, oh, what are you going to do? I'm going to sit here and watch TV. No, go pick up a guitar, play something, do something.
Do
whatever
something.
it is. Yeah.
Do something creative. Do something.
it make yourself make something.
It's
Even if
something that
some-
makes you happy, even if you're not, if it can be fulfilling to write your own song, but if not, just to do a cover or figure something out, just to,
Yeah.
you're accomplishing something, and that's always satisfying to make noise.
Yeah, exactly. Like
unless it's just frustrating, but for the most part,
yeah,
I think I'm more happy that I do it.
It's a tough balance because like I remember when I first started playing, I got those, and you probably remember them from Guitar Center, is those big fat white the white pages of guitar tabs. It's like a phone book. And I have them. They're
with
still
all
in
the
my
chords,
with the tabs. It's like the whole tabs written out for like all the guitar parts of all kinds of songs,
like Sunshine of Your
shitless-
Love and shit like that.
Well, I mean, like anything from way back. Like it goes like, yeah, I mean, like, and they are literally that thick. I think there's 2 volumes of them, and it has just tabs. And seeing those tabs and being able to start playing that music and hearing it come to is so cool. To like, wow, this is that.
I've got this list that I've been working on that I'm very proud of Anita Franco tunings. She's my favorite guitar player, and she uses like literally about 50 something tunings.
Wow.
Because she's been playing for, her first album came out 20 years ago, and all her songs are in different tunings. And so I go on these little scavenger hunts trying to figure out the tunings for different songs.
Wow.
Just through like, if there's a video of her playing where you see her tuning her guitar, and then looking at set lists from before she had a guitar tech, so she had to tune between songs and listen to
Shit.
So all sorts of crazy stuff, trying to figure out tunings, and then I try and learn them, and sometimes very satisfying, sometimes very frustrating. But.
So why do you think somebody, again, especially for someone like me who's sitting here confused as hell, why would somebody want to tune their guitar so differently every time? I mean, I'm like, yeah, drop D. Put it in drop D and power chord the shit out of it. So I'm sure everybody out there in music land is just laughing their asses off because that's what it's like. Okay,
we're not, because most people are like that.
Yeah, probably like, shut up, don't give away our secrets.
Yeah, right.
But like, why? I know how many tunings there. I know there's a bunch. I
Some
like
of them
Celtic
are scary.
tuning.
You'll like break a string so easily. It's very frustrating.
Why would somebody? I mean, you think would somebody do it?
I fucking hate guitar. I think it's the dumbest instrument on earth. I think it's because it's so limiting, and most people would like scoff or punch me for saying that. But like, it is like if I play piano, and like if you don't know theory, then whatever, just try and follow. It's not that complicated. But like, let's say I want to play like an E major chord, and I want to play E. Or I want to play the first, the third, and the fifth, and then the first again, Well, on guitar, I can only do the first, the fifth, the first, third, fifth, first. In other words, the phrasings are very limited. I can only do so many phrasings of a chord. On piano, you can do whatever. Guitar, you're so limited, and I think that's so. I actually haven't used that many tunings, but that's why I think, because I mean, you're just very much stuck. You can only work with what you have when you're in standard tuning.
Right. It's not as because the notes aren't as much. Yeah. Okay.
You can only arrange it certain ways, and you can only do certain phrasings. And so anytime I hear it,
and because you only have one fucking hand.
Exactly. Yeah.
So that kind of limits you too. Because I mean, you got a potential of 10 notes that you can hit, given they're not too far apart. But that's 10 total notes you can hit when guitar is 6. You're capped at 6, and then you can't even. Unless you've got some kind of funky ass hands, you can't. There's only so much you can do, and even certain chords that just make you go, I don't want to do this.
Yeah. So that's why I fucking hate guitar.
Yeah, I don't. It is. It's a problem. Like when I, like I said, I have a keyboard downstairs, and I tried to learn to play that to understand the theory when I started learning a little bit about theory, and like when you see keyboard stuff, you're like, oh, it's written like this. Plays like this.
Yeah.
Like that's it. That's the way it works. It's like I can't be that.
That's
it.
Like buttons. Just hit that button.
Yeah. I was like, oh, that's really like. But you see those same notes on there, and you try to do it on guitar. It's like good luck.
Yeah, exactly. It's
good
so
fucking luck.
It's like it's easy if you play. It's not easy, but it's technically possible to cover a song on piano that's originally on guitar and play the exact same phrasings. But to take a piano song and play it on guitar, you cannot. I mean, depending on the song, but generally you can't do the same thing.
Right.
And But yeah, it's been interesting because sometimes I will try and do piano versions of songs that are on guitar, and then my own songs, like I was saying before. The majority of these songs are on piano, so I've been playing them on, or I mean, they're originally on guitar. I've been playing them on piano, trying to figure out like what notes I'm playing. And sometimes it's easy. It's like, oh, well, like I know this is a G chord, but then if I'm in like a weird tuning or there's a capo or something, it's like, okay, well, this is the B string, and I'm just like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then okay, that's what note that is. And
yeah. Man, I remember getting into a big argument about that. Like one of the first songs I wrote, like kind of wrote, it was just a stupid little slow acoustic song. My friend had actually just passed away, and it was like I just got like I got into a hole, and I was like I wanted to make something, and so I started writing this song, and so it was a stupid easy chord progression, but it was just capoed on. I'm trying to remember now. It was either capoed on the, I think it was capoed on the third, so it put pretty much the entire song into a minor, which is where I wanted it. So, but then the progression, like I didn't know what those were. Like this was how bad I was. Like, so if I told you that I had an E capoed on the 3rd fret, you'd know what it is. But to me, I'm like, I can't tell you that. Like, I still can't. Sitting here having time to think about it, right? I still can't tell you what that is. But it bothered the guy I played with because he was like, that's this. I said, no, look, I need to write, because we have a whiteboard and everything. Like, I was writing down, it's this, and this is the progression. And it was just a big thing because he was like, that's what I need to know it as. I don't know what it is capoed down. I need to just see that it's a, you know.
My dad is a guitar player, and, a lot of times he's kind of like the house guitarist at open mics, and he'll just go up and play along with people, and he's never heard the song in his life, and people are always saying how great he is. Anita Franco's the same way. She doesn't know about, got like gum in my mouth. She doesn't know about, she doesn't know much about theory or anything, and she was actually saying how she has a story about recording with Prince, and he's like, it's in G, and she's like, what the fuck does that mean? So she just kind of had to figure it out because she does all these crazy tunings and she doesn't really know exactly what she's playing.
Yeah. It's weird seeing that because again, that guy was classically trained, so he knew music.
So he needs to know, like, I guess it has to be more
right. So when
spelled out and stuff.
Right. When I wrote it my way, which was my dumb way of trying to remember what the chords were, it was like, he's like, it's not like this. So like we even had to write like what the bridge progression, and then he had to write it a whole separate time for himself because even though I said it was capoed on the 2nd, he just couldn't, because I was doing the chords. I was just doing like a rhythm, and he was adding the, just fill. He just was adding fill guitar, so he would just play it, and it sounded good, but he, the discussion between the two of us, it was just like, it shows that exactly.
Yeah. That's funny because my dad he'll record or play live with people, and he never has to say, like, unless maybe it's something really complicated or he really wants to figure it out quickly. I've never seen him ask someone, like, what key is that in? He just kind of picks it up right away.
Must be nice.
It's nice for him.
Yeah, really. I mean, that's the thing I would, like I said, I would trade that because that would be I would trade a lot for that.
Some people, I think he was somewhat of a prodigy, and I was talking to him about that recently, and I think what he said, and he's like the most humble person on earth. People are always telling him how great he is, and he's just like, yeah, thanks. But I said that because like right away when he was like 5 or maybe a little bit older, he was starting to figure things out on piano, and what he said was, I guess like you either kind of have it or you don't, not to like put people down who aren't great musicians, but it's true, some people just like come out swinging when they're a little kid, and then some people don't, and he was someone who just figured it out like right away and just immediately became a really talented musician.
Yeah, it is. It's I knew a guy growing up, and that's what he was. He was none of the guys I even mentioned, but he was another guy who could. I remember this story. I'm pretty sure I've told this on here before, but we went to the Echelon Mall. This is how long ago it was when the Echelon Mall had a piano store.
Whoa, Jacobs?
I think it might have been that. I don't even know what it was. And we were walking around the Echelon Mall, and he sat down at the piano and started to play. Normally they kick you the hell out if you start,
Right? Fuck Jacobs. I got kicked out once before I could even sit down. Guitar Center, they never do that. And yeah.
And he sat there and started playing piano. Played for maybe 20 minutes. Drew a crowd of like 50 people. Everybody walking by the mall stopped. There was like this huge circle, and I'm sitting next to him on the piano bench just watching this. And then he got done, and he got up, and people were applauding, and he wrapped it up, and I said, what was that you were playing? He's like, it just came out of my head.
He's like riffing.
And
That's
I was
crazy.
like, fuck, man. Like it, and it was gorgeous. And but he wouldn't know what it was. He just did that. He just filled it and just made music. And these people, and me and everybody else there were just in awe of watching this man play all this gorgeous music. And it's something. And like you said, he just, that was it. He knew, and he was young then. This was probably in our teens, early teens, when he could do this.
I'm so bitter.
Well, yeah, I am too. I mean,
I get jealous.
The guy still plays music. To be fair, he still does things.
I hope so.
Yeah, part of Cheap Dinosaurs, Dino Leonetti. If you've never seen him, great. He does a lot of like chiptune music.
Okay.
So,
cool.
So it's really cool. He's usually at MagFest every year. Actually, they get to go up to play at MagFest down in Maryland in January. If you've never been to MagFest, it's Music and Gaming Fest. It's down in. So if you're a gamer or in music, either or, get down there.
Both.
Yeah, or both. It's
Especially
definitely a thing to check out because they
Yeah.
got some of the great guys. DJ Cutman's usually there every year. All those guys. So go down, check it out every year down in MagFest. So I know I got to get there. I can never do it because it's always right after I like take vacation for Christmas, so it's always like the first weekend after New Year or first weekend after New Year's, and I'm like, I just used all my vacation time. I can't go down again. So I mean, no, it's awesome. I mean, I'm glad that you at least are staying with it. Like, it's something that you can see that there's a passion there, and some people, they just let it simmer. But I'm glad that you're the guy that's pushing to make something with it.
If I had more of an attention span or whatever, I'd probably be pushing even harder. But at least I'm not totally giving up. So.
No, well, you took a break. That's good. Sometimes to take a step away, and
it's funny. I'll want to learn how to play a song, and I'll be like, oh, this is gonna be so hard, especially if it's by ear. And I'm like, oh, this is gonna be so hard to figure out. And then I figure out the first part, and I get so excited, and then that high is gone, and now it's like I'm done now. Because then that thought comes back like, oh, I'm not going to be able to figure out the next part. Oh, but I already figured this out, so now I'm happy. Like, I accomplished something, and I have that gratification, and then I'm just done.
It is fun hearing those songs when they come back to you, especially like one of the first songs I learned how to play was Horse with No Name, which is the dumbest, easiest song in the world.
Who is that by?
To play, America. And it's literally 2 chords, the whole goddamn song. And that's it. It's 2 chords. It's like an E minor, and then... I couldn't tell. I can't tell you the name of the chord. I know exactly where your fingers are.
Yeah,
they're pretty much on the 1st and 4th string. So your fingers go here, and then they split apart. And they go back together, and they split. That's the whole song, guys. Horse with No Name. It's the whole song. If you want to learn it, there you go. You can go play it tonight.
The first song I learned how to play on guitar was a song called "That Time" by Regina Spektor, and she's not really a guitar player. She's mostly a piano player, and it's just played on 1 string, and it's just 3 notes. You play it open, then 4th fret, then 5th fret, then open again, and that's like the entire song.
It sounds like
if you're looking to start playing guitar,
it sounds like Smoke on the Water. That whole hardcore intro to Smoke on the Water that everybody loves.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the 2 middle strings on like open 4/5. I think that's
exactly power chords. Except this doesn't even require more than 1 string. It's even better.
That's not bad. Yeah. I like the sound of that. That's even simpler. Or for anybody else out there, oh god, what's the name of the song? Nothing Else Matters by Metallica. Yeah, Nothing Else Matters. You play the whole intro open. It's the first, then 4, 5, 6. It's like doom 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 doom. That's how you make sure your guitar's in tune. That's what I used to do, because I'd be like, I can play if I play the beginning to Nothing Else Matters and it sounds right, the guitar's in tune. I kid you not. I'm fucking embarrassed as hell to say that too. That's horrible. And that's exactly what it is. The whole bit is open. You just you put
that's
the
actually
away.
Impressive. I think if you're able to tune like that, I think that's really impressive that you're not using like a tuner or something.
Well, I can tune pretty well by ear. That's the only thing I can do.
That's impressive though, to have that ear. I was really impressed by myself recently when I was putting my guitar in a different tuning. And I got it really quickly without using a tuner.
Nice.
And then I told that to someone later, and they're like, "Yeah, you're supposed to be able to do that." I was like, "Fuck you."
Shit, man. It's not everybody has perfect pitch to hear that, man. It's not a simple thing. So I don't know. I mean, I got lucky because I can hear the note. That's it. But I couldn't. I can hear it when I'm tuning, when it's in tune or out, and I'm going between.
Yeah.
I can hear that. But if you try to say, here's this song, play the chord or play the notes, no. No chance. I'll never find them, ever.
Yeah.
I could be there for days. And that is something that, that's the kind of thing.
If it's simple chords, I can do it. One time my dad was playing guitar. He was like, hey, what's this chord? And he played some crazy chord. And I was like, I think you're so fucking smart. So I sat at the piano, and I spent like 10 minutes at this digital piano. And I was like, what fret are you playing again? Like, what note is that? And I like figured out every note that he was playing just by like the string and the fret. And I still didn't get it because it's, there's also, you have like your basic major and minor.
Yeah.
And then you have like, 7 and whatever the other ones are called. And this was like some, 7 flat, sharp, major, suspended something. Like, this was really out there.
Yeah, and somehow he managed to play it, but you didn't tell us your dad has 6 fingers on one hand. That's the secret.
He can do that weird stuff.
People think that those guys are polydactyl people. They don't have no, man. They're great, man. They can play guitar like you wouldn't believe, man.
He had a month of piano lessons when he was a kid, and he told his piano teacher, because she had classical music, he's like, I want something like more modern, meaning like rock music. And she brought back show tunes and stuff. And that's all he had.
Oh, man. So I do got to bring up your podcast.
Yeah.
We've talked about your podcast. So you've got your 5th anniversary coming up?
Yeah.
Okay. I want to make sure it was 5th. I'm terrible with numbers, as we can tell by my musical prowess. So it's your 5th anniversary. So that's coming up. That is when again?
June 25th.
That's June 25th. That's coming up really soon. So hopefully I can get something plugged before. Hopefully I can plug that before this releases, because I know this isn't going to release by then, and I apologize. But or it might. I don't know. I need to get a calendar in front of me, folks. I'm sorry, I can't. This
6 days.
Yeah, then it's definitely not. I'm sorry, but I'll get a plug up for it for sure. And if nothing else, at least some links to the recording. So it's. Cool. Musicians Talk, and so you've been 5 years. Don't know how the hell you've done that. Cause
well, I've also taken breaks throughout.
Okay.
Lose steam or something, but yeah, 5 years on and off.
I was gonna say I'm like 30. This is 33, episode 33,
wow.
and I'm like, how the hell do people go 5 years? So
well, I do once a month though. That's how many I have.
Oh.
I have like 30. Holy shit! No, I'm like blown away by you. I've only done like 31 or 32 episodes.
Yeah, well,
I'm more impressed by that.
Well, I've had a lot of people at High Note to thank. I mean, a lot of the guys that have come here that are part of High Note, a lot of great comics who have been great sports coming on here. I mean, I shouldn't say great sports because I'm not people who watched. Like I said, it's nothing weird. I'm not ambushing you with anything strange. So I'm not like I'm putting you through anything strange. So yeah, I mean, I can thank those guys for for helping help me out there, and it's been. It's been a fun ride, but man, 5 years, that's got to be a hell of a ride.
I guess, yeah. I mean, it's been like frustratingly unsuccessful so far, especially considering like some of the people I interviewed, a lot of them became, or like a few of them became really popular like after I interviewed them. Like, which is cool though, because I couldn't get them if it was after anyway, so hopefully it'll just come back, slowly, but I'm trying to now get it syndicated on radio stations and stuff like that. So yeah.
Well, I mean, I would think you'd want to get them after they're big because.
But I can't. I would want to get them after they're big.
You might be able to. It doesn't hurt to ask.
I do. And then it's like this weird catch-22 where it's like I want it to be a bigger podcast, but I need bigger names, and to get bigger names, I need for it to be a bigger podcast. So yeah, I'm trying to slowly work my way up, and
I hear you. No, it makes sense. It's been that way with this. I've asked some people. I've asked big names. I've asked Kyle Kinane. I've actually sent an email to Kyle Kinane because
which one is he? I feel like I know who that is.
He's one of my favorite comedians. He does the voice of Comedy Central.
Okay,
but he's also a really good storytelling comic. I liken his style to sort of Jim Jeffries because he has a really good storytelling vibe. Like he can really keep you interested in whatever story he's got to tell you, whatever dumb thing he did or whatever thing happened that he'll keep you in it and just keep you there watching and just glued to it. And I love that about him. And he also makes it feel real because he's kind of he always calls it his dum-dum stories because it's usually the stupid shit that he's done, which I don't even know if I'd be able to have more than just the statute of initiation on my show with him, because I think he would just be like, he'd be just like, bam, I could go for an hour on shit that he's, because if you've ever heard his stand-up, that's a lot what he talks about. So and I, so I've always asked people, I figure,
doesn't necessarily hurt. Sometimes I walk away feeling foolish, like, oh, why would that person even say yes? But I guess the dumbest question is the one that isn't asked.
Yeah, it makes me, I'd rather get rejected. I'd rather take the shot.
Yeah,
because I'm like, well, I got rejected. Yeah, but if I do send it out there to 100 people that I might want to interview, like maybe I look at like, okay, Philly's Funniest. If I knew the comics more, I'd be like, yeah, there's 200 and some people for Philly's Funniest that are going up. I'd say they were bigger, and I'd be like, yeah, I'll send it out to 200 of them.
Yeah, if one of them
maybe 5 or 6 of them respond, I'm like, I got 6 weeks episode right there, right in the can. So
I'd rather get a rejection than not get a response, because then at least I know people saw it.
Yeah, and
if
that's
not, I wonder.
It feels it. I think it's fine to ask. I'm all for it. So. Hey, I wish you the best, man. 5 years that's a hell of a thing to keep going for 5 years, man. I don't know if I'm going to make it 5 years. If I can come up with episodes every week for 5 years, I might go to 2 bi-weekly by that point.
Mine's just once a month, so.
Well, yeah, but at least you have time to plan and prep. And
yeah, I work really hard to try and make it really interesting and all that.
It's believe me, I'm trying, but once a month I can appreciate. I would like that once in a while for sure. So before this whole thing started, I gave you the full circle test.
Yes.
And there goes the cat again. So I gave you the full circle test, and I asked you to draw some stuff. So I'm going to bring that up here. So there we go. So we kept it simple on this one. So our
it was stressing me out. I don't know why.
Well, everybody's is a little different. Some things are simple. Some things are... But I'm actually more intrigued by yours than most. No. A lot of them I can tell what people are going for, and I get it. And like you said, you started off with the orangish, pinkish color, which wasn't quite what you were.
I thought it was pinker. Let the record show.
And, well, yeah, I gotta look at that color tip and see what happened. But maybe there's some color blindness we need to talk to you about. But, so that's where you started with the filling it in. And then I'm guessing the next thing you went with was the yellow Sharpie up in the top left. So because it looked like you were still trying to fill some shit in, but. I think this
middle thing was
okay.
Next.
So what happened with that? I want to see where you were going with this, or is this just something that was flowing through your head?
I cannot draw for shit. I can barely do a stick figure, and so
we've had stick figures, so don't be surprised.
Oh my gosh! Well, I just thought I don't want to spend too much time on this. I'm gonna drive myself crazy. I thought of doing all the middle three just like a pinkish color. Maybe that all changed when I started to see how it came out.
Well, the shape is intriguing. I like the shape, and especially the 2 other shapes. So I know you're probably thinking I'm nuts, but like the bottom right for the viewers here, is just the 2 stripes. So I'm looking at that shape, and I just see like it almost looks like it's like thought out, like it's planned, because.
I don't even remember doing this. Are you sure I drew that?
I'm pretty sure you did. Like, if I saw that on a logo or something, it would look like it should be something there because it's just offset enough.
Yeah.
It's just a little bit low. It's not like dead middle.
Yeah.
And it looks designed. So I'm like looking at it going, this looks like it belongs like this. Like,
well,
honestly.
I thought, I'm kind of anxious about getting this done. I'm not a great artist. I may as well just do some random shit, and maybe I'll do a straight line if it works out.
I did, and then so what about the top right corner? Then I gotta ask about this one.
I was just trying to connect lines as many as possible, and see how long I could keep that going, and just
it's a neat one. Like I said, everybody's is a little bit different. I like all the aspects of them, whether they're simple or complex. I've had stories happen in these things. I've had manic drawings that look like they were drug induced. I've had a lot of weird things go on here, and I like to see where each one of them goes. Believe me, I have every single one. I have all of them from every episode, so it'll be 32 of them because the first episode we didn't do it. But all 32 of them, and I love every single one of them. So
cool.
That's why I like them. They're cool. They're always different for the person, and there's something interesting in each of them for sure. So, but that's for sure. So this is definitely going into the collection. So, but I like it. No, so but I do got to ask you, as I ask every one of my guests. As I am a video gamer myself,
Okay.
What is your favorite video game of all time? So it can be console, arcade, the game you couldn't get rid of if you had to sell your console, or if you saw an arcade cabinet, you'd be throwing quarters at it. one of those. Everybody's got one, I think.
Probably it would be hard to pick a specific one, but Grand Theft Auto.
Okay,
I love Grand Theft Auto, San Andreas, and Grand Theft Auto 5, and then later I got Grand Theft Auto 4 on my computer because it was like $5, and I fucking love it because it takes. I'm like, I do this like romanticization of New York City for some reason. I'm just like a sucker for that kind of thing. I mean, I grew up in Queens until I was like 6, and not in like a cool area, but it's it's Liberty City, but it's based off of New York, and it's so like it has my old neighborhood, Forest Hills. I don't remember what they call it, but Queens is called Dukes in the game.
Nice.
So like that's, and then it has, I don't remember what they call it, but I grew up in Forest Hills, which isn't like a happening area. I mean, there's 1,000 different neighborhoods in each borough, but they have Forest Hills. And I remember I moved when I was 6, but I vividly remember early in the morning seeing people doing like Tai Chi in the park, and they have the people doing Tai Chi in the park in Forest Hills. So I fucking love that. San Andreas I like because if that would be my favorite if it wasn't for the it doesn't have the cheats that I like, because in San Andreas you can just turn the this is how you know you're fucked up when Grand Theft Auto is your favorite game, but you can put on the cheat that cops, like, your rating never goes up. Yeah. So you can just like go punch a cop in the face and just like walk away, and they just like keep chilling.
Well, you are the second person in 3 episodes that said Grand Theft Auto. They said San Andreas. There was no doubt about that. They said San Andreas. They were like, hands down.
I used to play the game. I never did the storylines or anything. I just like walking around and like it's just so interesting. There's this big, open universe, and you can just do whatever.
It was one of the first ones that really was like that when Grand Theft Auto 3 first came out, and you were just like, hey, here's a world.
Mm-hmm. Grand Theft Auto 2 was just little like blocks, right?
I remember it. Yeah, you were. It was a top down. It was a top down view. You just kind of walk along the street. And the funny thing was, like you were saying, they renamed the areas. It was even worse in that one because they had like all the boroughs and areas and towns, but it was just like ridiculously renamed. Like Hackensack was Hack and Slash, and so that was like the way they were all renamed, and it was that was the whole game. And you just drove around in this top down view, driving around the streets, and that game was multiplayer too.
I think so. Yeah. It was. I remember having. I think my brother usually played it.
Yeah, that was a nuts game right there.
Yeah,
man.
And No Mercy, probably.
Oh man, there's some good ones. There's that Grand Theft Auto was fun. I got to admit, playing Grand Theft Auto 3, once you're done rolling through the story, you throw on a cheat and you just terrorize. Yeah. And just have fun and just be like, okay, I'm cool. I can sleep good now. And there was something about that for sure. I think everybody's got a soft spot for that game. I think at some point.
It's so much fun.
So the other thing I do before every other podcast is, or not every other, but every podcast is, I make an ink blot for my guests. Okay. Now, it's not a Rorschach test. It's not like, if you don't see this, or you should see that. No, it's not. I swear to God, I make each of them myself. So there's no hidden meaning. I mean, if you see one, you see one. And this is inverted again. So I always do this because I can, when we start to look at these things. So this is the one I created here. This is one of the simpler ones for some reason that I've come up. I don't know. I mean, it happened.
I feel like I caught a peek of this earlier, and I feel like I already like know what I think it is.
Okay, well, that's good.
Kind of. The bottom looks like a butterfly.
Okay.
The top, I've been noticing people have been doing lip injections.
Oh, okay.
And I feel like it usually looks really bad, and this is kind of what that reminds me of.
Okay.
And then
it's a butterfly with lip injections.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a terrible looking butterfly.
Wow.
Just this butterfly with giant lips flying. Oh.
And then, I guess I need something for this.
No, I mean, it's sometimes the extra space, just the dots that end up out there don't really...
Black stars or something.
No, that's kind of cool. So you can hang on to that because, like I said, I make one for everybody, so that you can have that for sure. So the other thing I love to ask people, which this is becoming quickly one of my favorite parts of the show, is I do a little segment called Groundhog's Choice. Okay. So if there was a point in time in your life that you could go back to and stay in that time period forever, like if I said like your freshman year of college or something like that, if there was a time period you could go back to and stay there, not like go back and relive your life, but you could just stay there and live in that time period, where would you want to go? Can be
do I go with like my current knowledge, or am I just starting over, or like do I not know that I just went back in time?
No, you don't really know. I mean, but if you could go back and enjoy your life,
like
then
fixing mistakes.
No. It's not like fixing. It's when would you go to say like I want to go, and like most people say like I've had guys say, oh, I'll go back to my freshman year of college because I felt so free. I was on my own, and it's what some people were. To each their own. Like, oh, one guy was like, well, when I that first 2 months I met my wife, that was like so. That kind of stuff. So
it could be a really brief period, because I don't want to be a bummer, but I feel like there's no specific period where I was just like, euphoria for a long time. But
that's hard to say for anybody.
Yeah, right.
I mean,
I'm such a nostalgic person, but not in like the typical like, oh, like it was such a great time. Just more, it's almost like curiosity, like to go back in time. I'm like obsessed with time travel. I'm so obsessed. I'm obsessed enough with time travel that I feel like I'll be able to do it just because I want it so bad. I'll just do it. Man, I'm like going year by year in my head right now. Third grade. Sorry.
Is there there's nothing that really stands out that was like a good time?
I'm going year by year, like summer by summer. Maybe like again, like I mean, just like anything, every period has so many ups and downs, and maybe high school. I don't know, like towards the end of high school, like senior year, because that's always exciting. Like you're learning new things and you're discovering things about yourself, and I remember. I don't know, and I went to the alternative school, so I just have a lot of like really funny memories about that.
Yeah,
just like weird shit that happened all the time, and
I feel like the thought of freedom at the end of senior year would be just something that's like, oh, thank God, it's finally coming. That would be something that I would really, really love to think about, like to have that feeling like every day, like because like I said,
it's
today's
not a job.
Yeah, and right now is graduation time for a lot of people, and it's that feeling like it's done. And like
oh shit. I had that feeling, and it's like it's like when I finished middle school, it's like, oh, I'll get to high school and it's whatever, and then high school ends, and it's like, oh wait, shit, I'm actually like that rug is being pulled out from under me. But then just in time, they made this because I was such a shitty student, it was awful. And then just in time, they made this 1-year audio program, like audio engineering and mixing and stuff at Camden County College for a certificate. I was like, oh, perfect timing. So I went from high school and I did that, and then that ended, and I was like, shit, what do I do now? Like, because like I think before we started recording, I said something about being like jack of all trades, master of none. That's how I feel about a lot of stuff. So, a lot of stuff is like come and gone and things like that.
Yeah, it's tough. It's it is a tougher question, but it's interesting to see the responses I get from people, because everybody's got a you've got things you look back to. Everybody's got a little time period maybe that was.
Yeah, it's so crazy. It's just it's crazy to think about all the, because now that I'm going back, I'm just remembering like certain things that were so like in such a small amount of time, like things that were so exciting and then so shitty at the same time. But looking back, I probably should have just been more grateful for the shitty things probably weren't that shitty, and I should have just been more excited. But I don't know.
Well, you can always do it.
There's my answer.
Well, no, I mean, it's something.
Maybe
to do
I
in the
haven't
future.
peaked yet. I've said half jokingly, I think I peaked at 20, but we'll see.
No, you can't say that. That's
we'll
a
see.
one. Well, you like you said.
That's when I was most like. That's when I wrote, I think, the most music and stuff like that, and I feel like I had a decent amount of confidence, which is carried over a little bit, but it goes back to the neurotic Jewiness. It all ties together. It's all about that neurotic Jewiness.
Neurotic Jewiness.
That makes me.
I think we should see if that's an available website name before
before someone snatches it up.
Yeah, because I'm not streaming this, so we got time to check that out before
GoDaddy.com. We'll definitely look at that. redirect it to my website or this podcast or something.
We'll
Just don't. Yeah, right.
We'll split the billing.
The point is, don't let it go to waste.
That is it. Oh man, I really hope, because now I'm going to want to Google that as soon as this is over, because I am extremely curious. But neurotic Jewiness, that just it rolls so nice, man. I'm gonna get in trouble for saying it so many times, but whatever.
Careful who you say it to. I can say that I'm Jewish.
I know. Well, we'll have to ask a couple of the guys over at the open mic what they think about that one, because they'll give us their honest opinion, I'm sure. So.
I mentioned race for the very first time last time I went, and I even had a joke about getting beat up for it, but it was very mild. It was just a joke about white people doing gangster rap music. I was like, oh, I don't want to slip up and say the N-word. And then I was hoping Brian Isley would be there so I could say I don't want Brian Isley to beat me up because I love his comedy so much.
You guys have an interesting dynamic between the two of you.
Do we? We've barely interacted.
I've always seen the two of you guys, like, you're always right there. And then, you know, it's kind of funny to see.
I'm always in the front. Well, he's like so cool and I'm so not. Like, he's just so fucking cool. I mean, the one interaction I remember is we were talking about seeing WWE in Philadelphia, and just, I don't know, that's like, it's the one interaction I can remember where I was like, oh, like, I'm so jealous. Like, I said something like, try to think of me when you're there or something. He's like, I'm not going to be thinking about you at all.
Oh man, and we love Brian over there.
Oh,
man.
he's one of my favorites. He's so funny. He was on here, I saw.
Yeah, Brian was here. He just released his album recently, as a matter of fact. I'm trying to get him back on, Brian. So if you're watching this, still want to get you back on to plug the album. So you got to get your ass back over to the couch. So, but yeah, no, I mean, I want to appreciate. I appreciate you coming on, man. I want to thank you for it. It's great having you here.
No, I'm really grateful. I'm glad.
Especially a fellow podcaster who's been pushing for 5 long years, man, with the anniversary coming up soon.
Yeah.
So other than your page, so I'll point people to Musicians Talk. I'll point people to, you have your own site, correct?
It's a Bandcamp.
So just the Bandcamp.
And
site.
I have a cassette label. Did we mention that? I have a tape label as well.
No, then I gotta definitely have some links. You're gonna have to send me some links.
I'll send you some links.
I'm gonna have links below to everything. So everything you need to find for Greg is gonna be listed down below for sure. So and if there's any social media you want people pointed to or anything like that, I'll have it all down below so you guys can get your fill of Greg and all his music, which
all of it.
So you can check his podcast music. Yeah, exactly. We feel it's. Hey, the least I can do to thank people for coming on here is to share their stuff. You know, you're putting up with me on the couch for a little while. Least I can do is try to get you out there and do the least little for you guys. You know, so it's everything. It's a give and take. That's the way I see it. It's fair for everybody. So
totally.
So I got to remind all you people out there that are watching to make sure you try to like and subscribe down below. It helps me make these videos. It helps keep making me do these things because I know you're subscribed and you're watching. So subscribe down below. Click the little bell thing too. Apparently, that's what they tell you to do now on YouTube. Click the bell. Yeah, the notification bell. When you click subscribe. When you click subscribe, there's a little bell there to get the notifications that, hey, this guy made a video. Hey, check it out. And it sends an email to you or stuff like that. Cool. So make sure you click the bell, all that good stuff. And don't forget the Patreon. I got the Patreon down below too. So got lots of cool stuff. If you subscribe in the Patreon, I'll make you a pen. See? People can subscribe. I'll make you a pen.
Hell yeah. I'll
share the video of it online. I'll even put the video of me making your pen and put it here on the channel and then send you the actual pen. No joke. I will do that. I've done it for people before, so I'll have it out here and we'll send it to you. So don't forget, guys, check it out. Check out Greg. Like and subscribe below. Check out some of the other videos on the YouTube page. And as always, never buy an umbrella. Thanks, guys.